Where were you on the morning of September 11th, 2001? Now, I know from looking at the demographics data for this channel that some of you weren't even born in 2001. And that's crazy to me because I remember the world before September 11th. So where were you? Leave your comments in the section below. I think it's therapeutic to talk about these things because still, 16 years later, I still think about this stuff. And I know that when I go home tonight after work, I'm going to have another discussion with my son about September 11th because it's something that we talk about in our schools, and we should. I think kids should be aware of that because the mantra you hear related to September 11th is never forget. And I hope we never do. Now here's my story. My September 11th story started like most days. I went to school and I had marching band practice in the morning. Then I went to my first class. And toward the end of my first class, someone came running into the classroom saying, "Oh, did you guys hear what's going on? There's like a bomb at the U.S. Capitol building, like a car bomb went off." And as with a lot of breaking news things, there was a lot of misinformation at first because no one was really sure what was going on. It was hard to get communication out. But that class was just about over, so I ran from that class to my next class, which was my Advanced Placement, or AP, U.S. Government and Politics class. And I knew that my teacher there would have a lot more to say, and that he'd probably have the TV on so we could see what was going on. So I ran into his classroom, and we sat there in virtual silence, watching the events unfold. I watched on live TV as the second plane hit the World Trade Center. I watched on live TV as the towers fell. And in those first moments where no one was quite sure what was going on, that teacher provided a forum for discussion that helped initiate the steps towards healing. I went home from school that day and I watched the news until I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore. Incredible men who impacted my life, like Peter Jennings and Tom Brokaw and Dan Rather. I already watched the news every day because that was who I was and I was interested in the news, but that night especially, they were a voice of comfort to a troubled nation and I didn't want to turn it off. And somehow life went on. Life continued, but as a nation, we were forever changed. And not just because when you go to the airport, you have to take your shoes off to go through security, or because some people look at someone with a different skin color and judge them or fear them, but because we lost our innocence on that day. I feel like for a new generation, this was a defining moment, like Pearl Harbor. And unfortunately, the aftermath has led to what is now this long, protracted, hard to define war on terror with no discernible end in sight. So yeah, it changed who we were, but I want to focus on the main thing that came out of that. Similar to what you saw after Hurricane Harvey just a couple weeks ago, in the aftermath of a horrible tragedy, we saw the best that this country has to offer. People came together, and I'm not just talking about the concerts with celebrities and things to raise money, but the first responders that ran toward danger, that sacrificed their lives for the right principles and ideals. The sense of patriotism and unity. There was a somber, almost holy attitude to the entire nation. And I remember, because I was living in the Salt Lake City area, the Winter Olympics in February of the following year, just a few short months after September 11th. It was a worldwide celebration, but it felt like the entire world was there to pay their respects and show a classy response in a time of crisis. There was a renewal of people's faith. Whatever God you worship, their people went back to their religious beliefs. They wanted something to cling to, something to hold on to, and they rediscovered their faith. Service to others increased. Charitable donations increased. So out of the horrible tragedy came stories of heroism, both on that day and the days that followed, and came a better sense of love and appreciation for the things that we had, and a deeper devotion to God. And on one hand, maybe we needed that. And it's a shame, just like I said with Hurricane Harvey, that has to come at that kind of cost. Right? Something terrible has to happen to get us to that point. So the real lesson of September 11th should be to remember the lessons of September 11th and to keep that feeling in your heart, to keep that generosity, that spirit of camaraderie and love for mankind all the time. To reach out and embrace those that are marginalized by society. To offer to help and support and lift up those that are in need. And if we can do that, then the terrorists will never win. Because that is the American spirit, and that is the spirit of mankind. Back to my normal videos tomorrow. But in the meantime, please subscribe to this channel. You can click right here. And on this side, watch some of the other videos that I've made on this channel. Leave your comments in the section below, like I said at the beginning. I'd love to know, what was your September 11th story? What was it like for you? Thank you.